great sex is one of the best things that you can experience, but why does that mean that for so many people, they're actually frustrated? Probably because on the flip side of its absence is how unpleasant that feels and how unwanted it feels. What is actual frustration? It is quite frankly the discontent or dissatisfaction with the actual life that some people feel they deserve versus what they feel they are experiencing. So what they want versus what they are actually getting. And this frustration can happen in many different ways for many different people. It can happen in terms of quantity, so the amount of times people are getting it, the type of actual frustration, if somebody's having an O and the other person is not, lack of O's at all, frequency, lack of arousal, boredom, feeling just stuck and in like a monotonous like position or even routine, physical limitations with your sex life. And if you feel like it's getting to the point where it's causing either like frequent mood changes or even so close to the point where it's causing depression, it really is time to actually have a conversation with your partner and say, hey, this is something that's causing an actual like change in our relationship and myself, and I would like to address it. And the first things first is going to be having an open and compassionate conversation with your partner rather than pointing fingers and saying, you are not fulfilling my needs. No, start with things like I feel conversations, like I statements are going to allow you to display the way you are feeling with your partner rather than pointing fingers and making them feel even worse about the situation, like they're not enough for you. Because remembering there might be so many reasons why you're not matching up with your partner that they might not even realize it. And if you're not matching up with those ways of, intimacy with your partner, there can be bouts of either cheating or bouts of, just drifting apart. And that's not good either. And if one person starts to point fingers at the other, that's just that's a recipe for disaster. So when you think about talking about the subject delicately, what it will do is it's going to open up a comfortable and confident communication rather than it's your fault that I feel this way, if that makes sense. Straying the conversation away from accusatory. And especially if it's something like, hey, if you feel like your relationship has just gotten like monotonous and you're only doing one position, use something like, I'm really loving the way your body does this. When we do this position, I would love to try it out more. I would really love to see more of this in our bedroom. How about we try something like this, right? And one thing I do want to remind you guys is there's no such thing as normal when it comes to amount of times or quantity. So if you feel like you're having less or even more amount of sex than your friends or anything like that, remember that there's no like rule that says you have to be doing it every single day or every single week even. What's normal in your relationship is what's normal for your relationship. And that's the best thing about what goes on in your household, right? Comparing our sex lives to media and things like porn is never healthy. And that's going to create so much shame around your relationship and your partners and your intimacy. So not to mention, it's going to really affect the way that we're viewing our own relationships. And that's why it tends to be a lot of the times like, oh, we're not doing it enough. We need to keep up. We need to keep up with the Joneses who are on the rom-coms or things like that because they're doing it every single day. A lot of the times that's not feasible. And it puts more pressure on one partner than the other. So how can we fit it in with our schedules and make the times that we're doing it count better? So my challenge for you is, how have you had those open conversations with your partner? Do you have any tips or tricks? Drop them below because I want to know, and share them with other people.